Whenever we go over the network, we should always count for errors. So let's see what happens if we shut down our server. So in our backend window, let's press Ctrl and C to shut down the server. Okay, now let's restart the app and see what happens. We got a blank window, not a good user experience. Here we should tell the user that we couldn't get the listings from the server and then give them a chance to retry. So back to our listing screen, here we should declare another state variable. We initialize it to false and call it error. We could also call it has error, but I prefer error because that is shorter. So error and set error. Now, when we call the server, we get a promise. This promise is always resolved even if we get an error. So that means we don't have to surround this code with a try-catch block. That is one of the reasons I personally love API sauce. So we get a response and then check the OK property. If OK returns false, that means we have an error. So here we call set error to true. Now we can find the type of the error from response.problem, which can be one of these values: client error, server error, timeout error, and so on. In this case, we don't really care about the type of the error. We just want to tell the user, hey, we couldn't get the listings from the server. So we don't need the response.problem. We set the error and return. Or we can combine these two statements into a single statement and then get rid of these ugly braces. That is better. So as a best practice, always write the error handling code first because that is very important. Now, if you don't have an error, then we're going to set error to false. Now, finally, we're going to conditionally render an error message based on the value of this variable. So above our flat list, if we have an error, then we're going to render a fragment. Inside this fragment, I'm going to add an app text and say, couldn't retrieve the listings. Now below that, we can add a button. Here we set the title to retry and onPress to this function we created earlier, load listings. So once again, we're going to go to the server. If we have an error, we're going to display it. Otherwise, we're going to show the listings. So here we call load listings. Save. Now here's our app. We have our error message, but the button we have here is not the button we have created. It's the button component in the core of React Native. So on the top, let's remove this button component. We're going to import button from components/button. Take a look. That looks better. It aligns with the look and feel of our app. So let's retry. Nothing happens. Now here in the backend window, let's restart our server. And then retry. Our listings are back. Beautiful.